Welcome to my program. I'm Anthony Noble and I want to teach you with these things to be an artist. On this first program of how to do an oil painting, I'll introduce, this is my surface. The surface on which I'm going to paint is known as my ground. Okay, it's called your ground. Some canvases are very smooth, some canvases have a texture. The ones with a texture, we call it a tooth. So the canvas that's a bit coarse is called canvas with a tooth. This is not too smooth. First thing I do when I look at my canvas, I need to decide, am I going to draw or paint using landscape format or portrait format? Okay, portrait format or landscape format. Some people have a problem doing a landscape in portrait format, but anyway, what I do, the first thing I do is I divide my ground or my canvas into thirds. So I have thirds, 1, 2, 3, and then also thirds vertically. Okay, so I've got thirds horizontally and thirds vertically. I need to remember that whatever I do will be determined by the basic. So this is my basic. So if I'm going to do a landscape, 2/3 will be sky and 1/3 will be land, or 2/3 land and 1/3 sky. It's difficult to work in the middle, then your picture does not work. So the first thing I do before I start painting, I divide my canvas up into thirds. Then I tell myself, okay, this is going to be my focal point or my disappearing point. I would work outward, drawing the eye into the canvas. So this could either be water or it could be a road, and I would put in the second third a mountain in the background there, which is part of my focal point. Now, this composition, a composition is how the painting is made up, is going to be an L composition. So down here I will have a tree and then it moves across this way. That's an L composition. A U composition, however, would be there and there. Okay, that would be a U composition. An O composition would be the picture covers that gives you a round. So I would have trees growing here, trees growing there, which close at the top, giving you an O shape. So whether it's a road or a river, I need just for the basic. This is your first painting you're going to do. So for today, I'm going to do an L composition. There's going to be a mass of trees over there, and darker section here. This I will cut away, this I will cut away. The next thing we're going to look at is my medium. I use oil. Okay, you'll see just 3 colors of oil on the palette. By the way, this is called a palette. It's, for me, I use anything really. Perspex, it can be wood, can be card, but I use a little piece of Perspex, and you'll notice because it's oil, it's non-drip. So I'm going to use just the 3 primary colors. The 3 primary colors are yellow, red and blue, and white. A little bit of black if you need to use it, but basically to start off with, if it's your first lesson, just the 3 primary colors, so you don't have to have much money spent on anything. Next, get yourself a good palette knife. A good palette knife is typical because it needs to be flexible. So if you want a good palette knife, get one that's flexible. The sizes go from person to person. Some people like small palette knives, some people like very big palette knives. I'm okay with whichever size, but it's got to be flexible. Okay, Afrikaans hy is buigbaar en daarom is hy breekbaar. Okay, so it's flexible. Then I'm an unorthodox artist, so I use a brush. Okay, I use just a normal brush. The brush you can use your typical artist brushes. There's nothing wrong with that. You can use your artist brushes. Some people prefer to paint with this. Because I'm prolific and I work very fast and unorthodox, I use this brush. Then also you need a medium. oil painting medium, I use a roll seed oil mixed with oil painting medium, which contains a little bit of drying liquid. So my paintings dry faster to touch, but actually it's just to speed up the drying process. So I use a medium. So to do this, the first ever lesson I teach people, if I'm teaching people, I'll teach them something like this, which shouldn't take you longer than an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but it's a fun painting to do and very not complicated. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to use a little bit of raw linseed oil. I dip this into my raw linseed oil and I cover the surface. Please be generous with your raw linseed oil and over the water. There. And then into that I have my white oil paint. Notice the wrist movement. This is called scumbling. You scumble it into place there. That will be the sky. Take note, I've painted over the mountain. And the reason I do that is because I'm not going to color in that little mountain. I know where it is. The drawing is done in my head for me. Okay? The drawing remains in my head and it's done for me. The section where there's water, this is water, flows downward. Then with my palette knife, I now need to remember in my mind where my light source is from, and I'm going to make the light source slightly to the left or to the right, whichever way you're looking at it. Okay, and I have my yellow, which is my main light source there, and then the water, because the water reflects the light. So whatever's in the sky is reflected in the water. A little bit of red, take note. The red is going to blend in with the yellow there, and right around gently, very, very gently, I blend my yellow and my red there. And then obviously I need to get the reflections in place. On this side and on that side, these are the reflections. So I do the water while I'm doing the sky there. And then the last color I'm going to use is a little bit of blue there and there. And I do that. Please notice it's still the same brush that has been painting the yellow and the red and the blue. And the colors don't give you that gray, yucky shade that would happen if I pressed hard. There, and just below that there, this is called atmospheric blue there. There we go. And then the blue water down here. There's a little bit of blue down there where the water reflects the sky. And on this end, ever so little. And once again, it needs to blend away. I can give highlights over there. And on this side, a little bit of a highlight there. And on this side there. Okay. Now, to get my mountain, I mix a little bit of red and a little bit of blue on the palette. When you mix colors on your palette, using your palette knife, keep the colors in one place. So concentrate on one small patch. For the sake of my memory, I draw with the back of a palette knife or the front of the palette knife, just the line where the mountain was, and I block in the color there. Same brush, because we want uniformity in the painting. And I drag my mountain out of the canvas on the opposite side. drag my mountain out of the painting. There. And basically what I've done, I've just followed the lines. Okay, below the mountain, I need a little bit of mist to give you the sense of perspective, that it's distant. And all this is just merely a touch of a brush. Okay, on the one side of the mountain, I'm going to darken it ever so little with the palette knife. There. And the opposite side of the mountain is going to have a highlight. The highlight is yellow, white, and a tiny bit of red. Very little red. And with the palette knife again, all I do is I block the highlight in. So my source of light is from this side, falling on the mountain there. There we go. And just to blend it away there. And with the brush, we touch it into place. Okay. Now, because I'm keeping my sense of uniformity, the same purple that I used, or brown that I used for the mountain, I drew a thin line there. This is going to be shrubs or trees in the background. Okay, and I simply dab them into place with my brush. There. And then the reflection in the water there. Reflections always move downward towards you. Reflections always down towards you. Now, below those trees in the distance, and you'll notice they're relatively misty, I'm going to block in some grass. You can make it green. Green is a dangerous color, so I don't use green a lot. Okay. I block in a very light yellow color or a creamy color, and I'm going to add a little bit of green to it. How do I get green? I add a little blue to the same shade that I used the first time. There, at my green. And then, still using the same brush. Remember I told you it's unorthodox. Someone else will tell you wash the brush. You don't need to. There we go. There we go. All I'm doing is I'm tapping it into place very, very lightly. And on this end, there. Okay. And with the same color that I use for the mountain, remember what we want is uniformity. So the color you have here, you need to find somewhere else in the painting. The color you have there, you find it somewhere else in the painting, so that the painting has a uniformed shade about it. Okay. There. And this we touch ever so slightly. There. And the reflections. Again. And the reflections. There we go. And as I said, this is a very, very, very basic painting. Very basic. Okay, and the reflections there. Now, to break the reflections, you take, say, a palette knife, and the same color that I use for the highlight on the mountain, I draw very thin lines across the canvas. very, very thin lines, and these have to be perpendicular to the end. There, there, there we go. Okay. Now, where at the beginning I said there was a tree on this side, and for the sake of contrast, I'm going to make the tree a reddish brown. Okay, so this is an autumn setting. Notice I begin with the leaves. I do the mass of leaves first, and then with the same shade that I used for the mountain and the grass, I do the stem. Yes, you can use a thin brush, nothing wrong with that. And we do a highlight on the side of the tree there, the reflection in the water. There. And we break that reflection again. And just to plant the tree quickly, tap below it. And tap away just to obscure the branches. To sign my painting, the only time I may use a different brush. Okay, this thin brush signs my name. And some people are very finicky about which color they use. I'm okay as long as my painting is signed. And there I have my name. Okay. I feel it's important to sign your name because you're putting on your sign of ownership. And the year, of course. I did this painting in 2022, and just to show you what the painting looks like, cut this off there and remove this tape here. Remove this tape here. There. Last bit. Move this piece of tape there. You have the feel of what the painting looks like. That, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, is your first, most basic painting, but very effective. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy that. Thank you for sharing this time with me. If you need advice, help, feel free to contact me on 082 2585 704 or email me at anthony.noble, Noble, 36 @gmail.com. Thank you.